I am the son of the Mafia, and I don't care about your decision.
What happens when a Mafia captain's 32-year-old son walks into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom facing weapons charges, then openly brags about his family connections and threatens witnesses in front of everyone? This arrogant criminal is about to learn that some threats backfire instantly, some family names offer zero protection, and some judges have direct lines to the FBI's Organized Crime Task Force. But what makes this case absolutely explosive isn't just the courtroom threats or the illegal weapons. It's what happened 45 seconds after he finished bragging, when Judge Caprio made one phone call that triggered simultaneous FBI raids on 7 properties, arrested 23 Mafia associates, and dismantled a criminal empire that had operated for 40 years. Subscribe now and watch until the end, because what unfolds in the next few minutes will shock you. It's a Wednesday morning in Providence Municipal Court, and there's an unusual tension hanging in the air. 2 federal agents in plain clothes sit quietly in the back row of the gallery, their presence noticed by very few. Several uniformed police officers line the walls, more security than a typical morning session would require. The case on the docket is technically simple: illegal possession of firearms, carrying without a permit, and resisting arrest. But everyone in law enforcement knows this case is anything but simple. The defendant's name is Vincent Castellano, age 32, son of Anthony Big Tony Castellano, a captain in the DeLuca crime family that has controlled organized crime operations in Rhode Island and parts of Massachusetts for 4 decades. 3 weeks ago, Providence police stopped Vincent for a routine traffic violation. When officers approached his vehicle, they saw the grip of a handgun visible under the driver's seat. A search of the vehicle revealed 3 firearms: a .45 caliber pistol with the serial number filed off, a 9mm Glock, and a sawed-off shotgun. All illegal, all unlicensed. Vincent was arrested, but he was released on bail within 4 hours. His father's connections ensured that bail was posted immediately, and Vincent walked out of custody wearing the same arrogant smile he wore when he was arrested. But Providence Police Detective Sarah Walsh, who made the arrest, knows there's something bigger here. Those guns weren't for personal protection. They were evidence of something more sinister. She's been investigating the Castellano family for 2 years, and she's convinced Vincent is being groomed to take over operations when his father retires. The bailiff's voice cuts through the quiet courtroom. The state of Rhode Island versus Vincent Anthony Castellano. Charges: illegal possession of firearms, carrying concealed weapons without a permit, possession of weapons with obliterated serial numbers, resisting arrest. The courtroom doors swing open with force, and Vincent Castellano enters like he owns the place. He's wearing an expensive black suit, perfectly tailored, with a blood-red tie. His shoes are polished leather, his hair slicked back with too much gel. Gold rings cover multiple fingers on both hands. A thick gold chain is visible around his neck. He looks like a stereotype of organized crime, and he doesn't seem to care. Behind him walks his attorney, Michael Rossi, a 55-year-old defense lawyer who has represented DeLuca family members for 25 years. Rossi is known in legal circles as the cleaner because he makes criminal charges disappear for connected clients. Vincent walks to the defendant's table with absolute swagger. He doesn't look concerned. He looks amused. As he passes the prosecutor's table, he actually winks at Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Torres, a gesture of complete disrespect. Judge Frank Caprio watches his entrance with careful attention. He's seen arrogance before, but there's something different about Vincent Castellano. This isn't nervous bravado. This is genuine confidence born from a lifetime of facing no real consequences. Mr. Castellano, Judge Caprio begins, his voice measured and calm. You're facing serious charges. How do you plead? Vincent doesn't even look at his attorney. He leans back in his chair, crosses his arms, and says loudly, "Not guilty, Your Honor." Obviously. The word obviously hangs in the air like an insult. Judge Caprio's expression doesn't change. Mr. Rossi, does your client understand the severity of these charges? Illegal firearms possession, particularly weapons with obliterated serial numbers, carry significant prison time. Michael Rossi stands smoothly. Your Honor, my client is fully aware of the charges. However, we believe there are significant constitutional issues with the search that produced these alleged weapons. We'll be filing motions to suppress all evidence based on Fourth Amendment violations. Fourth Amendment violations? Judge Caprio asks. The police report states that the firearm was in plain view during a legitimate traffic stop. Rossi's response is practiced. We dispute that characterization, Your Honor. We believe the officers conducted an illegal search, and therefore any evidence obtained is inadmissible. Judge Caprio turns to the prosecutor. Ms. Torres, please present the evidence. Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Torres stands. She's 38 years old, tough, experienced, and she's prepared for this moment. Your Honor, 3 weeks ago at approximately 10:45 p.m., Providence Police Officers Thomas Brennan and Lisa Chin stopped the defendant's vehicle for running a red light at the intersection of Federal Hill and Atwells Avenue. Vincent yawns dramatically, making sure everyone sees it. Torres continues, her voice steady despite the disrespect. When officers approached the vehicle, they observed a firearm grip clearly visible under the driver's seat. This was plain view, Your Honor. Officers have every right to secure a weapon they can see. So they say. Vincent mutters loudly enough for everyone to hear. Judge Caprio's eyes snap to Vincent. Mr. Castellano, you will remain silent unless addressed directly. Is that clear? Vincent shrugs, a gesture that somehow conveys both compliance and contempt simultaneously. Torres presents her evidence methodically. Photographs of the vehicle, showing the visible gun grip. Body camera footage from both officers showing the traffic stop. The discovery of the weapons. Vincent's belligerent behavior during arrest. The body camera footage is particularly damning. It shows Vincent arguing with officers, refusing to exit the vehicle, shouting, "Do you know who my father is? You're making a huge mistake. You'll regret this." When the footage ends, Judge Caprio asks, Mr. Castellano, the footage shows you threatening police officers during your arrest. Do you deny saying those words? Vincent leans forward, and what he says next changes everything. Yeah, I said it. So what? My father is Anthony Castellano. Everyone in Providence knows that name. Those cops should have known better than to hassle me over some stupid traffic light. You want to know the truth, Judge? Those guns weren't mine. They were planted. But even if they were mine, nothing's going to happen to me. Nothing ever does. The courtroom goes completely silent. Even his own attorney looks shocked. Michael Rossi tries to intervene. Your Honor, my client is upset he didn't mean. Vincent cuts him off. Shut up, Rossi. I meant every word. He turns to look directly at Detective Sarah Walsh, who's sitting in the gallery as the arresting officer. You've been trying to get something on my family for years, Detective. It's pathetic. You arrested me? Big deal. I was out in 4 hours. I'll be out of here in another hour, and there's nothing you or anyone else can do about it. Judge Caprio's voice is ice cold. Mr. Castellano, you are in a court of law. You are threatening law enforcement officers and making statements that suggest witness intimidation. Vincent laughs, actually laughs out loud. Intimidation? I'm just stating facts, Judge. My family has been in Providence for 40 years. We have friends, lots of friends, in business, in politics, in places that matter. Detective Walsh knows this. The DA knows this. Hell, everyone in this courtroom knows this. He stands up, his attorney frantically trying to pull him back down. Vincent shrugs him off. You want to know what's going to happen here, Judge? You're going to dismiss these charges because the search was illegal. And if you don't, my father will make some calls. And this whole thing disappears anyway. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. Vincent turns to the gallery, where several reporters are scribbling frantically. Yeah, I'm saying out loud. What are you going to do? My family runs things in this city. We have for decades. One judge isn't going to change that. He looks at Detective Walsh again. And you, detective, you should be careful. People who push too hard against my family have a way of finding themselves in uncomfortable situations. Transfers to terrible precincts. Suddenly their investigations lose funding. Sometimes worse things happen. Just friendly advice. The courtroom erupts. Reporters are shouting questions. The two federal agents in the back stand up, suddenly alert. Police officers move toward the defendant's table. Judge Caprio bangs his gavel repeatedly. Order. Everyone sit down. When silence finally returns, Judge Caprio's expression is unlike anything anyone in that courtroom has ever seen. His face is a mask of controlled fury. Mr. Castellano, in my 35 years on the bench, I have never witnessed such brazen contempt for the law. You just threatened a police detective. In open court. You admitted to having connections that you believe place you above the law. You essentially confessed to being part of an organized criminal enterprise. Vincent smirks. I didn't confess to anything, Judge. I just told the truth about how things work. Judge Caprio picks up his phone. His next words are measured and deliberate. Get me Special Agent Richard Martinez at the FBI's Organized Crime Task Force. Tell him it's urgent. Tell him Judge Frank Caprio needs him immediately. Vincent's smirk falters for the first time. What are you doing? What I should have done the moment you started speaking, Mr. Castellano. Michael Rossi stands, panic in his voice. Your Honor, I request a recess. My client clearly needs to consult with counsel before. Sit down, Mr. Rossi. Your client wanted to talk. Now he's going to face the consequences of his words. The courtroom speakerphone activates. A professional male voice comes through. This is Special Agent Richard Martinez, FBI Organized Crime Task Force. Judge Caprio. Yes, Agent Martinez. Thank you for taking my call. I have you on speakerphone in Providence Municipal Court. I need you to hear what just transpired in my courtroom. Go ahead, Your Honor. Judge Caprio's voice is clear and precise. I'm hearing a weapons case against Vincent Castellano, son of Anthony Castellano, known captain in the DeLuca crime family. In the past 5 minutes, the defendant has openly bragged about his family's criminal connections, threatened a police detective in open court, claimed his family controls political and business interests in Providence, and stated that charges against him always disappear because of his family's influence. There's a brief pause. Your Honor, did Vincent Castellano make these statements voluntarily, without coercion? Completely voluntarily, Agent Martinez. In fact, his own attorney tried to stop him. The defendant insisted on continuing. Your Honor, what you're describing is direct evidence of racketeering activity, witness intimidation, and corrupt influence. We've been building a RICO case against the Castellano family and the DeLuca organization for 3 years. This may be the break we've been waiting for. Vincent's face has gone pale. His swagger is completely gone. Agent Martinez continues, Your Honor, I'm currently 15 minutes from the courthouse with a tactical team. We were preparing to execute search warrants on 3 DeLuca family properties this afternoon. Based on what you just described, I'm accelerating our timeline. Can you hold the defendant in custody until we arrive? Consider him held, Agent Martinez. Your Honor, I'm also coordinating with agents in Massachusetts and Connecticut. We have simultaneous warrants ready to execute on 7 properties connected to the Castellano family and DeLuca organization. The defendant's statements give us probable cause to execute immediately. The phone call continues, but Vincent can barely hear it. His entire world is collapsing. His attorney is frantically packing his briefcase, clearly preparing to distance himself from his client. Judge Caprio addresses Vincent directly. Mr. Castellano, 45 seconds ago, you were bragging about being untouchable. In that 45 seconds, you provided federal agents with direct evidence of organized crime activity, witness intimidation, and corrupt influence. In the next 45 minutes, Federal agents will arrest you on RICO charges, execute search warrants on your family's properties, and begin dismantling the criminal organization you were so proud a moment ago. Vincent tries to speak, but no words come out. Agent Martinez's voice comes through the speaker. Your Honor, we're 3 minutes out. I have 20 federal agents converging on the courthouse. We're also coordinating with Massachusetts State Police to execute arrest warrants for Anthony Castellano and 5 other high-ranking DeLuca family members simultaneously. Understood, Agent Martinez. The next 3 minutes feel like an eternity. Vincent sits frozen, his arrogance completely shattered. The reporters in the gallery are frantically updating their editors. This isn't just a weapons case anymore. This is the beginning of the largest organized crime takedown in Rhode Island history. The courtroom doors burst open. Special Agent Richard Martinez enters with 12 FBI agents in tactical gear, wearing vests emblazoned with FBI in large yellow letters. They move with military precision. Agent Martinez approaches the bench. Your Honor, thank you for detaining the defendant, Vincent Anthony Castellano. You're under arrest for racketeering, conspiracy to commit racketeering, witness intimidation, and obstruction of justice. You have the right to remain silent. I want my lawyer, Vincent shouts. Michael Rossi stands quickly. Your Honor, I'm withdrawing as counsel. I will not be representing Mr. Castellano on these federal charges. Vincent's face shows pure panic. Rossi, you can't just leave. I can and I am. Good luck, Vincent. As FBI agents handcuff Vincent, Agent Martinez turns to Judge Caprio. Your Honor, teams are simultaneously executing warrants right now. We're hitting Anthony Castellano's residence in Providence, his social club on Federal Hill, 2 warehouses in Cranston, a restaurant in Warwick, and properties in Boston and Hartford. We're also arresting 22 known associates of the DeLuca organization. Detective Sarah Walsh stands in the gallery, tears streaming down her face. Agent Martinez, I've been investigating this family for 2 years. Can I be part of the arrest team for Anthony Castellano? Detective Walsh, your investigation work helped us get here. Absolutely. You'll ride with my team to Federal Hill right now. As Vincent is led away in handcuffs, he's no longer the swagger-filled criminal who entered the courtroom. He's terrified, his hands shaking, his voice breaking. This is a mistake. I didn't mean what I said. I was just talking. Agent Martinez cuts him off. Mr. Castellano, everything you said was recorded. It's evidence. You gave us direct admissions of criminal activity, threats to law enforcement, and acknowledgement of your family's racketeering enterprise. You did our job for us. The courtroom empties rapidly as federal agents secure the defendant and reporters rush out to file their breaking stories. Judge Caprio remains at the bench, reviewing the recording of Vincent's statements. The court reporter approaches. Your Honor, I've never seen anything like that in 20 years. Neither have I. Judge Caprio responds quietly. Pride and arrogance are dangerous, but bragging about criminal activity in open court? That's self-destruction. Within the hour, news breaks across every major outlet. FBI executes massive raids against the DeLuca crime family. The scale of the operation is unprecedented. At Anthony Castellano's mansion on Federal Hill, FBI agents arrest him as he's eating breakfast. The shock on his face when he's told his son's courtroom bragging triggered the entire operation is captured on news camera station outside. At the social club where DeLuca family members gather, 11 men are arrested simultaneously. Search teams discover records of illegal gambling operations, loan sharking ledgers, and documents showing corrupt payments to city officials. In warehouses across Rhode Island, agents discover stolen goods worth millions, illegal weapons, and evidence of sophisticated theft and fencing operation. By the end of the day, 23 people are in federal custody. The DeLuca crime family's operations are completely exposed. 40 years of criminal enterprise unraveling because of 45 seconds of courtroom arrogance. That evening, Special Agent Martinez, holds a press conference. Today's operation represents years of investigative work by dedicated law enforcement professionals. But the break came from an unexpected source. The defendant in a municipal court weapons case provided voluntary statements that gave us the probable cause to execute warrants we've been preparing for months. This is a reminder that criminals often defeat themselves through their own arrogance. A reporter asks, "Is it true the defendant bragged about his—" Yes. The defendant made extensive statements about his family's control over Providence, their connections to politics and business, and their belief that they were above the law. Those statements are now evidence in a federal RICO prosecution. What charges will the defendants face? Racketeering, conspiracy, witness intimidation, illegal gambling, theft, firearms trafficking, and corruption. We anticipate additional charges as our investigation continues. We're looking at decades of prison time for the leadership of this organization. 3 weeks later, Vincent Castellano sits in a federal holding cell. His expensive suit is gone, replaced with an orange jumpsuit. His gold jewelry has been confiscated. He looks like a shell of the arrogant man who swaggered into Judge Caprio's courtroom. His court-appointed federal defender visits him. "Vincent, I need you to understand the situation. The statements you made in municipal court are admissible in federal court. You voluntarily provided direct evidence of racketeering activity. The FBI used your statements to obtain warrants that uncovered massive amounts of additional evidence. Documents, financial records, witness testimonies from people ready to testify against your family. How much time am I facing? With your statements? With the evidence gathered from the raids? You're looking at 25 to 30 years minimum. Your father is facing life in prison. The entire DeLuca organization is being prosecuted under RICO statutes." Vincent's voice cracks. "I destroyed everything. In 45 seconds, I destroyed 40 years of my family's organization." "Yes, you did." 6 months later, the trial begins. Federal prosecutors play the recording of Vincent's courtroom statements. The jury listens in stunned silence as Vincent brags about his family's criminal connections, threatens a police detective, and admits that charges against him always disappear. Detective Sarah Walsh testifies about her 2-year investigation. "I knew the Castellano family was involved in organized crime, but proving it was nearly impossible. They were careful, disciplined." Then Vincent Castellano walked into a courtroom and said everything out loud. He gave us the break we needed. The trial lasts 6 weeks. 23 defendants are prosecuted. The evidence is overwhelming. Documents recovered from the raid show decades of illegal activity: gambling, loan sharking, theft, corruption, witness intimidation. The jury deliberates for 2 days. Guilty on all counts for all defendants. Vincent Castellano, 28 years in federal prison. Anthony Big Tony Castellano, life in prison without parole. The other DeLuca family members received sentences ranging from 15 to 35 years. After sentencing, Judge Frank Caprio is asked by a reporter how he knew to call the FBI during Vincent's courtroom bragging. "I've been on the bench for 35 years, Judge Caprio responds. "I've seen arrogance before. But when someone openly admits to criminal activity, threatens law enforcement, and brags about corrupting the justice system, that's not just arrogance. That's evidence. And evidence demands action. Did you expect the scale of what the FBI discovered? I knew the Castellano family was connected to organized crime, but the full scale? The 40 years of operations? The depth of the corruption? No. But that's why we have law enforcement agencies dedicated to fighting organized crime. My job was simply to recognize what I was hearing and make the call. Agent Martinez and his team did the real work. 5 years later, Providence has changed. Federal Hill, once controlled by organized crime, is safer. Small business owners who paid protection money for decades are free from that burden. Police officers like Detective Walsh can investigate without fear of retaliation. Vincent Castellano sits in a federal prison cell, 23 more years remaining on his sentence. He's a different person now. Prison has stripped away the swagger, the arrogance, the belief that his name made him untouchable. He receives a letter. It's from Detective Sarah Walsh. Vincent, I wanted you to know that the investigation that started with your arrest led to one of the largest organized crime prosecutions in New England history. 40 people have been convicted. Hundreds of victims have found justice. The city is safer. You spent 45 seconds bragging in court, and you dismantled your family's entire criminal empire. I hope you understand now that no one is above the law. No name, no connections, no amount of money places anyone beyond justice. Detective Walsh. Vincent reads the letter 3 times. Then he writes back, Detective Walsh, I destroyed my life and my family in 45 seconds of arrogance. I thought our name made us untouchable. I learned the hardest way possible that the law applies to everyone. I'm glad the city is safer. I'm glad victims found justice. I can't undo what I did, but I can accept responsibility. I deserved every year of this sentence. Vincent, if this story impacted you, subscribe right now for more moments where Judge Frank Caprio proves that no family name, no criminal connections, no decades of operating above the law can protect you when justice finally arrives. Hit that like button and share this with everyone who needs to see what happens when arrogance meets accountability. Remember Judge Caprio's words. Pride and arrogance are dangerous, but bragging about criminal activity in open court is self-destruction. That's the legacy of Judge Frank Caprio. That's the dedication of Detective Sarah Walsh. That's the precision of Special Agent Richard Martinez. That's justice when the system works exactly as it should. One phone call, 45 seconds of bragging, 40 years of criminal empire destroyed, and one arrogant man who learned too late that in Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, everyone faces the consequences of their